Now we're gonna get back to some serious whittling here, all right, and getting this pig hog down to looking like a hog. Okay, so we gotta do some serious cutting off the wood. And what I do too is when I'm carving these guys, I need a different blade, less sweet. I will get out my other wood hog that's not quite as arched. Look how that thing's moving that wood. Man, that thing is moving. Woo. I'm glad I'm not a piece of wood. Boy, that hurt. That'd leave a mark right there. Anyway, what I like these tools. These are OCCC, my favorite brand of professional wood carving tools. The reason why I like them is because they're carbon steel, and they're made out of O1, a kind of steel called O1, which is a steel that's very durable, and they're also heat treated right. And I know I'm boring the women that trying to watch this to death. I know it. I'm sorry, but it's just all part of being irresistible. You got to take the good and the bad. You know what I mean? So, but anyway, for you fellers, that O1 steel really holds an edge. It takes a good edge. It holds a good edge. Look how that. Look at that. Look how I just made that leg just pop right off her. Now you're gonna have to excuse me a minute, because I have, not only do I have cancer, I have a disease. It's a neurological disease that's developed since I started taking chemo, called dystonia. And it gives me these cramps in my hands that go like this, and in my back, and in my stomach, and in my legs. And I take a medication, but it also makes me start to drool. So I can't help it. It just does it. You know what I mean? And I'll start to get the drooly, especially at the right side of my mouth. I don't know why it does it. It's all just part of it. And y'all just have to forgive me. I'll forgive y'all if y'all fart or whatever. You know what I mean? So anyhow, we're gonna work on this with this wood hog here. Now this wood hog is something. All right? You gotta be careful or you'll hog off more than what you want to hog off. That's why I put those X's. Remember in that other video? It told me where to start and where to stop. And so I'm gonna show you just how quickly you can actually start getting some things going. Oh, and I was telling you about taking up wood carving after the first old lady left, first wife, okay? And I started going to this wood carving club here in Memphis. I live in Memphis, Tennessee. And not because I have to, but because they need me here. I mean, this place has the best barbecue. Oh, doggone it. I took off more wood in a minute. This place has the best barbecue in the world. And so anyhow, I took up wood carving when she left, and it was a way for me to deal with losing her. And what I would do is I wouldn't realize it, but especially like on a Saturday or a Friday night, I'd start wood carving when I'd get off work, and I'd get so into it that the next thing I know, I'd look up and I'd have a carving almost finished, or I'd just finished one. See, I'm making what's called a stop cut. See that line? That's called a stop cut. I will carve up to that line. Let's do the stop cut here. You see this? Stop cut. And I will carve up to that line and not go past it. So anyhow, I would carve and carve and carve during the night. And then the next thing, because I didn't have anything to do the next day, next thing you know, I'd look up and the sun would be coming up. And I'd have wood chips, man, they'd be everywhere. That's why I had one of these real nice aprons like this. So I'd have to get out the vacuum cleaner and fix that up. You know, I'm not a real slob about things like that. But anyhow, I got to carving and got to carving, and I got tired of using other people's patterns. So what I did was I bought a book. This is back before they had internet, and I don't remember how I found out about this book. I think that was a continuing education class in the University of Memphis, and it had a thing like learn how to draw for adults only. And so I said, okay, I'd like to learn how to draw, and I'd always piddled with it a little bit, and I was pretty good at piddling with it, but I never had it down, you know. So what I did was I took this course, and the book that they used was called Drawing on the Right Side of the Brain. And I had like the first edition, you know, kind of like the Bible that I have, you know. And anyway, it was like one of the first editions that came out of that book. And so I just did the exercises that it said, and I was coming along great, man. I mean, I was like, boy, I was doing some drawings now. And so what I did was there used to be a college here called Memphis College of Art, and it was a fairly prestigious fine art school. It wasn't back then. It wasn't so much. It wasn't any of this computer art stuff and graphic art. And if you did do graphic arts, you did it by hand rather than by computer. And so it wasn't none of this computer stuff. In fact, I remember when they finally got computers, they got two of these real slow, like Macintosh computers. And I thought, oh boy, that's terrible stuff right there. Anyhow, you see how this is coming along? He's starting to get legs, okay? So what I did is I went for a year, and I had a 4.0 average. And they made me take creative writing, and I said, I didn't come here to be a writer. I want to draw, and I want to sculpt. And he says, if you will take creative writing, you will learn how to express yourself with words like you will with a brush or a pencil, and it will help you actually. Trust me. And I said, all right, I trust you. And then they said, you got to take art history. And I said, I ain't taking art history. I didn't come here to do that. I come here to, and then she went, just trust me, you know what I mean? It'll keep you from learning how to invent the wheel again. I'm going to put the stop line of that hog's butt right there, and where we're coming off with that leg. Now this leg is going to be different than the other one, because it's got a taper, okay? So anyhow, I said, all right, I took it. Well, wound up, art history turned out to be one of my favorite classes. And then so did creative writing. And since then I have written stories, and I have written short stories and poetry, and I have a thing on Facebook if you care to read it, and it's called Letters from the Front. And what it is, it's a story. It's all fictitious. The things that happen are real, but the people are fake. It's a story of a Canadian soldier in World War I. Both my grandfathers were in World War I. One was an aircraft mechanic. One was a doughboy. He got gassed by mustard gas and was blinded for like 3 months. So, anyhow, the story is about a Canadian guy in World War I, and he makes these friends, and it's about their adventures in World War I. Now, it's called Letters from the Front, so you only get to read his letters to his wife, not his wife, excuse me, to his father, who's a Mason. I'm a Mason, and to his friend, his brother, that's a Mason, and then you get to read to stories to his fiance, his mother, and his little sister, who's about 10. But you don't get to read what they write back, but you do get to, the way the story is written, you can kind of guess what they're writing back to him. I mean, it's not hard to tell what they're writing, and so keeps it interesting. And it's not one of those necessarily blood and guts and blowing everything up. It's a human story, and a lot of humanity in it. And believe it or not, more females read the story than males. And that's just weird, I think, because it's a war story. And if I write one of those love letters from him to his fiance, whoa, man, the girls go crazy over that. Now, I haven't worked on that project in a while. I really ought to go back and work on it. But it's on YouTube. It's on my on Facebook. It's on my Facebook page. If you care to read it, okay, and then I appreciate it if you click a like on there too. It's called Letters from the Front, and you'll see a black and white picture of a World War I soldier. Now, my advice to you is this. If you're going to read it, you start wherever you want. Each thing is called an installment. They're about as long as a letter, because they are letters, alright? And they're not like a whole chapter, which would be a long read. And just look, everybody likes to read somebody else's mail, alright? So it's letters, each installment. And then the thing is they're not that long to read, and the story builds on itself. So if you pick up at the end of the story, everything is actually, you got to go way back, and get to the start, and the story will start explaining itself, and it will start building on the characters and all this, and it might be a little bit more boring at first than it gets. But you will see the changes that are happening to him and his attitude. It's a good story. I had a lot of, when I was working on it before I lost my lung, or part of my lung, I was getting a lot of reads on that every day, and I would put out a new installment every week, and it would take me almost a week to write an installment, because you got to edit and edit and edit and edit, otherwise it won't come out right. And so if y'all want to read it, y'all sure welcome to. Hope you enjoy it, and if you don't like it, then y'all can just, go chew on some rocks, I guess. I don't know. But this thing's starting to come along, say he's starting to get legs. I think what I'll do is once this gets to where it's almost 15 minutes, I'll probably cut this video off and let that just be the end of the videos on this for today. And I will probably, I don't want to bore y'all, and what I'll probably do is do some more carving on it and get it further down the road, and then let y'all see, the progress, of how it's coming and how I do it. Now, notice how I'm right up against my chest. If you're going to try carving, you need to get, if you're going to do this kind of carving, you need to get right up against your chest with this. And you see how I've got that leather on there? If I slip, see, it won't go through that leather, or is likely to. My beard gets in the way sometimes. Oh shoot, well, it's just about time I was going to tell you a funny story, but I ain't got time. I'll tell it next time. Alright, Hope you enjoy, folks.